Hey guys, Wheat here, back again with another video, and in today's video I am going to be helping you hit your first Gladiator title. Before we get started, if you could take 2 seconds, scroll down a little bit, hit like and subscribe, that would be awesome and help me out a lot. In this series, I'm going to be giving you tips to take you from 0 to Gladiator. In this first video, I'm going to take you through things that you absolutely cannot do without, so make sure you watch to the end. So the first thing that I want to talk about, and I guess the first topic I want to talk about, is how you talk to people, how you communicate with people. The first thing that you need to know is that you need to learn to communicate properly. You need to be short, succinct, and you need to only say things that are important. Talking about things that you would want to communicate. Let's say you're about to have all your burst up and you can see that your teammate has kidney shot up and you're ready to go. That's when you say, I have damage, let's go, burst now. That's something that you would talk about. Something that you wouldn't talk about is, for example, if you're like me playing a priest, you wouldn't say, I'm shadow word, I'm power word shielding, because it just doesn't make any sense. It's taking up airspace and it's just unnecessary communication. It's also very important to note on this point that you don't want to leave some things out that you should be saying. For example, if you've silenced the healer, or you feared the healer, or you sheep the healer, that is something that you should be communicating. I'm going for the sheep, I got the sheep, it's full DR, or it's half DR, or it's quarter DR. Saying things that can stop your teammate from having to look at other frames is the best thing that you can do so that they can focus on what they're doing. So the first point, in essence, is be vocal. Be on Discord. I know it's not cool right now to be on Discord, but getting on Discord and blending with a team is how you are going to get your first Gladiator title. It's very achievable to get it without Discord. However, you give yourself the best opportunity if you are on Discord. My next tip is about being constructive. When I was a 17-year-old kid playing an arena, the first time I hit 2.5k, I was angry. I was abusing my teammates, and if my teammates are watching this, I'm sorry boys, didn't mean to do it. But I was abusive and I was blaming everyone for mistakes that I could have fixed. I wasn't ever looking back at my games and saying I could have done this better or I could have done that better. And as soon as I started doing that, then that's when I got better, but that's also when my teammates played better because they weren't worried about me getting angry after every single game. Along with this, obviously it's not always going to be your fault if something goes wrong. If something does happen and your teammate doesn't say instantly that it was their fault or they didn't do this or they didn't do that, and you know it was their fault, you can say it to them in a constructive, positive way that can help them learn from it. Let's say, for example, you've just called out that you've kicked the G-Pie, your kick's on cooldown, the next one goes off and it kills you. Your partner had kick, you saw they had kick, instead of saying, you're an idiot, you didn't kick it, why didn't you kick that, get better, you're shit. You could say something like, hey man, like your kick was off cooldown, just make sure you use that next time. And stuff like that will prompt them to actually do it without getting them angry and without turning the game sour. Finding teammates who can take constructive criticism is rare, which is leading me into my next point. My next point is going to be find teammates that you gel with and not people who are necessarily the best. If you go to LFG and you're constantly looking for people who are 200 rating higher than you, you're probably not going to get where you want to be. Looking for people who are 100, 200 rating below you, who have a good attitude, who will listen, who want to learn, who want to contribute to the discussion. That is how you're going to get to higher ratings. Sticking with the same people and playing over and over again is the best way to climb. You will never see rank 1s playing at LFG with different people every single time. They'll have a group of people that they've played with before, who they know they work well with, and they'll keep playing with those people. You need to become like that. And wrapping up on communication, the last thing that you need to know is that it's a game. You are going to lose at some point. You're probably going to lose more than you win. And as soon as you realize that, the game gets a lot easier and a lot more fun. So that just about sums up communication. In essence, don't be a dick, say things that need to be said, and leave things out that don't need to be said. It's pretty simple. And next up, I'm going to touch on gameplay, add-on, UI, all that stuff. So let's get into it. So the first thing, and I won't take too long on this point, is have a clean UI. As you can see here, I have my frames here, I can see everything. I got my buffs, my debuffs in their standard spot. I've got Gladius, That's all I need to see. I have a decreased UI so I can see more of the gameplay and less of all the distractions around my character. Next up, I'm going to talk about add-ons. So the main add-on that you're going to need is the one you see right here, which is Gladiator. Gladiator is vital. It shows enemies' major buffs, it shows their trinkets, it shows DRs, it shows their cast bars. It is vital. You need this add-on. It's 100% required. Get the add-on. Apart from that, I already have a guide on the 15 top PvP add-ons that you do need, so I'll include that in the link below and you can check that out so we don't waste too much time in this video. Next up is Keybinds. Making sure that you have everything keybound, including your targeting, is how you should play Arena. Being able to react fast to what other people are doing is vital. Briefly going over Keybinds. What you want to make sure is that you have basically 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 as your main damage rotation. You then want anything reactive around that. For example, my Shadow Word Death is on R, so if I need to Shadow Word Death quickly or break CC, I know that it's right there. You don't want to have things that you need instantly on modifiers. For example, my silence is on T. I wouldn't have my silence on shift 4 because by the time I've got to shift and got to 4, the person's already casted. So have reactive things on single letter keybinds and have defenses on single letter keybinds, and then anything else that has 1 to 2 minute CD on shift, alt or control modifiers. Along with this, you also want to make sure that you have your arena and your party targets on macros. It just makes you react faster and it will help out your gameplay a lot. If I need to live swap one of my party, I don't want to be swinging my mouse halfway across the screen and then not hitting the right target or taking too long and then dying. I want to be able to quickly press my button and then quickly live swap. You'll be surprised how much this improves your gameplay. So quickly looking at my macros here. On the left side of my screen, you'll see target arena 1. So that will basically target whoever's in the arena 1 spot. Then we have target arena 2, which will target the second. And then obviously target arena 3 will target the third. For party, you would just replace the arena part of this macro with party. So /tar space party 1, party 2, party 3. My next tip is going to be playing every class, learning them inside out, and understanding the mechanics of everything. I have basically everything at level 50. I've played them all. I've geared them at least a little bit. I don't care about them. I don't want to play a Demon Hunter. I'm not a moron. But I still leveled it and I still played it to understand what they did so that I know how to beat them in arena. Knowing how to beat other classes by having played them is probably one of the best ways that you can progress as a player. Next thing I want to touch on is positioning. Knowing where to stand and where not to stand is vital. Where I'm standing right now, the middle of the arena, is basically never going to be the best place to stand. If you can see the other team, the square is a chamois, and that skull is going to be a mage. They have LOS of me. If I'm casting, they can simply duck behind that pillar and get away from my attacks. I'm also open here. I can barely do anything to get away, and if I get swapped to, I'm probably gonna die. What you want to be doing is always dragging people back to your pillar so that you can take a positional advantage. Now, most teams are actually going to allow you to drag them back. If you haven't tried it before, you'll want to do this. By running back to your own pillar, I've now pulled the mage out into the middle of the arena and I've got their chamois open. What my teammate can now do is he can push in between them, get CC on the chamois, and we have free reign over the mage. But along with this, my own healer now has LOS. He is now protected. He's not getting CC'd. He can free cast. That is what you want to be doing. You don't want to ever let your healer be dragged out into a position where they have to come and save you because you've been in a stupid position. And I can't touch on this enough. This is so important. Not standing in the open and being in a place where you can easily duck behind a pillar, get LOS, and avoid attacks is so important. Like 11 out of 10 important. I don't know how much I can stress this. Be near LOS, do not be in the middle of the arena. Simple. Now, there are various situations where you'll need to rotate with your healer, whether you're running from infernals or your healer needs to get a drink. Knowing how to rotate with them is essential. Now let's say that my healer needs to go get a drink. I'm standing on the other side of the pillar, on the other side of the arena. What are you going to do? Well, first of all, what you're not going to do is run straight across where you're getting destroyed by the mage. You will take the extra couple of steps, walk behind the pillar, and create some LOS so that you can get past safely. Sometimes not taking the obvious route is what you need to do to stay alive. Next up is understanding the surroundings and what the enemy is doing. If we remember, our Shami was over here before, but he's no longer there. He's now in Ghost Wolf running over to our priest, which means he's probably going for a CC. Seeing that that's about to happen, making your way over to assist the priest, popping a defensive, interrupting the hex, or even swapping to the Shami could stop the go. Just be aware of the surroundings, be aware of what everyone in their team is doing, and you will greatly improve your chances of winning. Next up is watching and understanding DRs. Depending on your class, this has varying levels of importance. For me as a priest, I don't really have to watch my Fear DR because it's got a 1 minute cooldown and I'm very rarely ever playing with a lock. But let's say, for example, you are a rogue and you're casting Kidney Shot. By not watching your DRs and kidney shotting off cooldown, you actually half the duration of your kidney shot. So be mindful, be aware, watch Gladiator. It's very, very important. Being able to get full kidney shots off is literally your job. That's all you have to do in the game. So watch those DRs and make sure you don't overlap and that you don't get reduced durations. With this too, you also want to make sure that you're chaining your CCs. If I'm a priest playing with a hunter, I'm going to want to fear the Mistweaver as soon as the trap is finishing so that he can't get one global to get his bubble off that will completely stop our go. If you can chain CC back to back to back for 20 seconds with no globals in between, someone will die. If you allow them that global cooldown to get that bubble off, then you are not going to kill them. It's very simple. Next up, interrupts. Interrupting is crucial. Knowing what to interrupt and when to interrupt it is so important. Let's say, for example, a Greater Pyro is about to go off and you're at 50% HP. Yes, it does 35% of your health, but you're probably going to die after that. Interrupting Greater Pyro, interrupting Chaos Bolt, interrupting Fear, interrupting Polymorph, anything that's going to put your healer out of the game or take a huge chunk out of your health is going to be top of the priority when it comes to interrupts. On the same line of interrupts, you also need to understand magic schools. If you're versing a Disc Priest, for example, a lot of people will kick the Penance when kicking the Penance doesn't have a lot of value. Kicking a Shadow Mend is far more important because once the Penance is on cooldown, they're not casting any more Holy Heals. So Shadow is always the most important school to kick for a Disc Priest. Knowing this for each class can give you an advantage over them. In the next clip, I want to talk about spotting and negating a go. In this clip, we're going to be versing an Iron Impaler. The Paladin's going to be the Diamond, the Mage will be the Skull, and the Rogue is going to be the Circle. The Rogue was currently just on me, and he's gone over to our Priest, which indicates that he's probably going to go for a Blind, the CC, Kidney Shot, or something along those lines. The Mage will also probably be casting a Polymorph on my party member, which means they're about to go. Now, there's two things I can do here. I can opt to Greater Fade and try and stop the go completely, or I could predisperse to save the damage. There's a whole range of things I could do. I probably wouldn't predisperse the damage, but knowing that the Rogue is going over CC is very important. Some people would see this and they would just think, oh, okay, he's going to swap on the Priest. But chances are, if his mage is in the middle of the arena, he's not going to swap the Priest. He's trying to get CC. So looking at how people are relative to each other can really help you work out whether it's a go or whether it's a swap. The biggest mistake that I see is people pulling themselves out of position, going in when they have no chance of killing, or not pulling back when they need to be pulling back. When Warlock's Infernal, running straight into the Infernals, it doesn't work. Spot the signs, know when to run, know when to hide, know when to push. That is the difference between you and Gladiator. So in summary of this video, learn to communicate with your partners, learn how to not be a dick, learn what other classes do, learn where to stand, learn how to use your abilities, learn how to keybind, learn how to target. Watch this video, dissect it, see where you can improve. There's a whole bunch of resources out there for your class specifically, so take advantage of them. The Wowhead guides are all written by Rank 1 pros, so they're very trustworthy. If you need info on your specific class, go straight to Wowhead. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below and I will field any of them as best as I can. Thank you for joining me for part 1 of this video. I'll see you next time.